Yo. What is going on, guys? It's on a fantastic day today. So, we have to come into realization that what we want in this draft might not happen, and as much as you know who I want in this draft, I've been talking about forever when I talk about Bijan Robinson, talking about getting a running back and why people do agree, don't agree, whatever the case may be with it. But when it comes down to it, I still think there's going to be two offensive players that are going to be drafted within the first three rounds. The first three picks, I should say. Sorry. And realistically, when you look and Howie Roseman was on New Heights the other day, and I was kind of thinking about a few things. This opened my eye to a lot of different possibilities, and this is definitely one of them.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
So really looking at the whole situation right now, when I look at Howie Roseman, when he said on New Heights the other day, and how Jeff Stoutland, obviously signed him to a multi-year contract as a coach, one of the probably the best offensive line coach, what he has turned some of these players and has an eye for talent, what he did with Jordan Mailata, how he's been working with Landon Dickerson, was originally supposed to be the starting center here until Kelsey actually stayed and played really well on that left side next to Jordan Mailata. The left side of this line has been really strong. And then coming to the right side, obviously with Samal leaving for free agency, signing with the Steelers, and then, Cam Jurgens is going to roll in there. There's a big possibility, guys, that as much as it's not a sexy pick for everybody. Look, with, there are guys out there that the Eagles should get. And when it comes to offensive line, it's a major possibility with Paris Johnson being there, okay? Which you could play left and right side of the line. They can cross-train him. They could do a whole bunch with him because of just what he could do. If he's available, even at 10, I still think the Eagles might even pick him up or may even move back a couple spots, which I think there's mostly there's a big chance here whether they trade for a player or in the process of this draft, or they're going to trade back in this draft to get some extra, some mid-round picks, since the Eagles don't have 4th, 5th, 6th round picks in this draft. And having Paris Johnson there is an interesting one because as much as you don't want to draft an offensive lineman in the first round, whether it's the 10th pick or the second first-round pick, as much as you don't want to do it, at the same time, it kind of makes sense because even if Kelsey's not going to be here after this year, okay, you lost a lot of depth, okay? Dillard's not here anymore, okay? Can play left tackle, left guard, whatever the case may be. Now starting probably left side for the Titans right now. Jack Driscoll, there's really nothing there. I don't know. He could play right tackle when he first got here. Then, he didn't really play well last year. Maybe he's more of a right guard. Maybe he's more of a depth guy at right guard, somewhere on the right side. Don't know. I know he played the left and right side at Auburn, but coming into, obviously, the Eagles now, I think purely they're going to keep him on the right side, whether it's right tackle, right guard. But I don't think he's anything special anymore. I don't know until he shows me a little bit more. But getting Paris Johnson, I'm not even just that, but even getting, maybe DeJuan Jones or something like that. I feel like there's a big possibility. Osiris Torrance is another one they could get. There's a major possibility here that the Eagles draft an offensive lineman very, very early, because really after this year, Kelsey retires. If that's the case, he's going to retire sooner or later, guys. People really need to, we can't every single year beg him to come back. Jurgens is going to probably move to that center spot really soon. Probably going to happen. He played a lot of center last offseason only because Kelsey had the orthoscopic surgery in his elbow, and then really had to, he was kind of stuck there at center. He was actually supposed to play guard in camp and kind of get in with the ones a little bit, which never happened because of that reason. So I feel like, yeah, it's not the sexy pick. It's not the pick that everyone's going to be like, oh my God, about. But we have to be pretty lucky here, guys. The way that Howie Roseman has built and around this team, made aggressive trades, give Jalen Hurts weapons, potentially can give him the best running back in this draft. Who knows with Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs later on in the first round if that's what they want to do. But I would really consider. And I think that's what they're going to do. And this is for the future, guys. This is for as much as even if you get Paris Johnson, DeJuan Jones, Sharansky, some of these other guys, even though I think they still could get playing time in red zone as extra linemen and stuff like that, they can use these guys to give these other guys a breather. You're going to need these guys for next year. Juergens moves to center. You have a big hole at right guard. I think Paris Johnson would be probably the perfect fit because if Stoutland could sense, I have 100%, recognition for Jeff Stoutland looking at talent here. And I think you got it in this draft. Offensive line-wise, they're drafting a guy early. I think you're going to find the future here. I think this is going to be one of your picks. You want your offensive line to strive for a long time. You draft one of those two, at least if you draft Paris Johnson, you're good for another 8 to 10 years or more at this point. You know what I mean? Like that's like a lot of fans just think about this year. Yes, we have other needs. Yes, the offensive line position is almost the same as the running back. Like you guys aren't gonna want to draft an offensive line early because we don't need one this year because we have those guys starting this year. But you have to look at down the road, and with offensive line, you got no depth. You have no depth right now. I don't even know. Besides Jack Driscoll, I don't even really know who else you got back there that really could, God forbid, Mulata goes down the left side, Dickerson goes down the left side. Who knows who can go in? You get a guy like Paris Johnson that can play both sides, cross-train, and I think Stoutland will sense what he could do with some of these guys because my trust and faith 100% goes into Jeff Stoutland. Thank God he is still our coach, and thank God whatever money they threw him, it worked. He didn't go back to Alabama as an offensive line coach. He didn't do anything else but want to stay here, and the loyalty that he has to this team. So we have to feel very, very lucky, and I think there's a lot of guys here that you could get. I'm very excited, and like I said, this isn't for a lot of fans, it's not exciting because it's not a weapon for offense and not a weapon for defense, but the protection of your quarterback is the number one thing, and we have to be, this is how you keep this train rolling every single year, having a good offensive line, and weapons all around it. So at the end of the day, between the first 3 picks, not 3 rounds, the first 3 picks with the 2 first and the second, I feel like it will be 2 offensive players. Necessarily not saying wide receiver because I don't think that would happen. Maybe 3rd round, maybe, but I doubt it. If they want to give Quez more opportunity or they just want to give him some competition at this point. But offensive line, I think, is definitely something that we have to really look out for that the Eagles are not going to pass up on if the talent is there. I still think they can move back a few spots, get a mid-round pick, and still draft DeJuan Jones, like I said, Paris Johnson, or even getting, a Torrance with the second first-round pick if that's what you really want to do. Torrance could start day one if you want, but obviously that guard spot is there. But put Torrance and, for that guard spot for at least competition with Cam Juergens. I just forgot his name for a second because I'm just overly thinking things. That wouldn't be a bad thing either because then, obviously you're wasting another second-round pick in the second year. So then you're only going to have 2 years with Cam Juergens if you have a guy start over him at right guard to really do something and, to see what he's all about. I think we'll find out pretty early once we put Juergens at center what he's going to be capable of, if he can handle it. I think the coaching staff will know automatically if he's going to be ready going to next offseason. But like I said, you're going to have a glaring hole in that offensive line come next year. Lane Johnson's only playing for another 2 years. So put that into account where right tackle are going to be your biggest weaknesses in the next 3 years, pretty much. Together. So this would be very interesting. I have no problem drafting offensive line. It makes our offense better, our line better for years to come, protects Jalen Hurts because you don't want to be one of those teams that gets weapons and looks good on paper and then their offensive line is just and you can't do anything with it. Don't turn this to an Andrew Luck situation, RGB, the way the way RG3, the way they used him, RG3, sorry. The way they used him, I'm tonight, it's a late night tonight, so give me a break. You don't want to put your quarterback in that situation where your quarterback's taking a lot of hits. And that's a big problem in my book going forward. Good offensive line, keep that thing strong for years to come. But as much as we're looking at defensive end, defensive tackle, running back, whatever the case may be with it, I still think they draft defensive guys. Look in the free agency of what they've done so far. If they want to pay an offensive lineman that badly, they would have done it. But obviously it makes no sense because those spots are pretty much filled right now. But after this year, your line is going to change dramatically if Kelce is gone. He is a big main focal piece that if he's gone, you got to figure it out ASAP. So, and then 2 years down the road after the 24 season, Lane Johnson might retire at that point. Since, quote unquote, he said he would only play for another 2 years from what he said. Who knows at that point? And he's got to stay healthy. You know, he dealt with some ankle injuries and now the torn abductor, and he still played very good on it. But you know, it's getting to that point now. He's getting a little injury prone, but he's playing good on these injuries, and he's sustaining those injuries and trying to, you know, until, you know, the team is done. You know, he could have got surgery and could have been out the rest of the year, but didn't want to quit on the team, you know. So you have to get respect into that as well. Love Lane Johnson. Obviously drafted in Philadelphia, and the guy has so much loyalty and would not miss a snap for this team. He doesn't care how hurt he is, so I have to respect him a lot for that. But like I said, when it comes to Paris Johnson and DeJuan Jones, Skoronski, Osiris Torrance at the second first-round pick at 30, if you want to do that, I feel like one of those guys is going to be drafted by the Eagles. I feel like there's going to be 2 offensive guys drafted, 1 defense in the first 3 picks. I just, and I think if they were able to get a Bijan and they added an offensive lineman on top of it, the ones I just talked about, and then they went into the 3rd round and got a cornerback at depth or something, or I don't know. There's a lot of different things that they could go for here, and I think a trade back is possible. I think a trade back is definitely possible. I wasn't a big fan of it. I'm starting to open up a little bit, depending on how far you want to move back. As long as we get a second, as long as we get something in mid-round, 4th, 5th, 6th round picks, whatever the case is. There might be a team that might want to move up dramatically with the Eagles to give them extra picks for next year and this year. Who knows? There might be a team that wants to move up to 10 and give us a lot of draft compensation. Who knows? That draft for 24 might look better, even with that extra 2nd round pick. Who knows what other picks they can get for that year if there's a nice little trade back with a team that really wants to move up, depending on how far that team is and how much they're willing to give up to the Eagles. It would be interesting. But offensive line, I love this move. I think they should definitely do it. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I wouldn't hate it. I would absolutely love it. This is why our offense is going to be great for years. And this new era with Jalen Hurts, you want to make sure now the starting of this extension going to next year, the Jalen Hurts era begins on a new contract, a long tenure contract, and you want to give him the protection that he needs, and do the right thing by your quarterback to give him protection. Because some of these guys, let me tell you, like how Russell Wilson and guys like that were in offenses for years, where where these front offices wouldn't give them as much, they wouldn't spend high picks on offensive line because, Russell Wilson could run all over the place. I think we can compensate for for mid-tier offensive linemen, for, a guy like Russell Wilson that can run everywhere. I don't want that to turn to this team. I think it's a stupid excuse. I think you're putting way too much on your quarterback at that point, and I really don't like it. So definitely let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about this in general. If you think an Osiris Torrance could be available for the Eagles at guard, to kind of go against Cam Jurgens, maybe with the 30th pick, or maybe they go after Paris Johnson, DeJuan Jones, Skoronski, one of these guys. There's going to be, I just have a big feeling that one of these offensive linemen are coming to the Eagles regardless, because after this year, your offensive line is changing. Kelce's gone. Guard is a spot. 2 more years, really going to 24, could be Lane Johnson's last year. Right tackle's a hole after that. So you really have to start going down and getting these guys. So let me know what you guys think about all that. I think possibility-wise, you could have 2 offensive guys in the first 3 picks, which is interesting. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. If you guys lasted this long in this video, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video as well. And if you guys haven't checked out the new Philly Shakedown merch, Draft5 Bijan Robinson merch, definitely check that out. We've sold a lot of hats so far. Link is in the description for pre-orders for that as well. So definitely check out all that great stuff. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Shake Squad up, follow us. Peace out, guys. Peace.